Hi there, Siobhan here. Excited to be bringing you a yoga flow, binds, and back bends. We'll work towards some shoulder openers, some chest openers, quads, and hips, all creating some really healthy space in your body for some healthy heart opening and back bending. So this practice is on the harder side. If you're feeling tighter in your upper body, then I would definitely recommend having a yoga strap or towel, something that you can use to make some of these binds accessible for you, and then a yoga block too, if you know that that's something you use frequently. And you can even use a water bottle in place of a block, just something to bring the floor to you. So let's get started. Come to your mat and come into a child's pose. Bringing the big toes to touch, opening your knees, and stretching your arms forward. Go ahead and kind of take inventory of how your physical body feels today. If you're feeling any tightness in your shoulders, your upper back, and start to just soften into that spot. Move the head around a little bit, right to left. Shrug your shoulders up and down. And then bring your attention to your lower body and just check in on how things are down there. If your hips are feeling tight, hamstrings, quads, move around a little bit into those spots. So shift the hips right to left, lift the hips away from your heels, and then bring them back and down a couple of times. Really just starting to create some awareness on how your physical body feels in space and in time. So every day is going to be a little bit different, definitely depending on what you've been doing in your day. If you've been doing any other kind of sweat working app workouts or walking outside, all of that will have a tendency to show up on your mat. Just 2 more breaths in child's pose. And lift up to a tabletop. Come to your hands and your knees. Shoulders right over the wrists, hips right over your knees. Move around right to left, up and down. See if you can take your body in every single direction. Right, left, forwards, backwards, diagonals, circles. And then come to neutral. Stretch your left leg to the back of your mat with the ball of your foot on the ground and just take a couple shifts forwards and backwards, pressing out through the heel and then shifting the shoulders forward over your fingers. Pause right in the middle position there and turn your left heel down towards the ground for a modified side plank. You may want to kickstand your right shin back behind you as you lift your left arm up in the air. Reach out even through like the pinky toe side of the left foot and then reach your left arm over your left ear towards the front of the room. Big breath in as you lengthen the left side body. Exhale, lower your left hand down, keep the left leg long, and just square your hips and your chest off. Lift the left leg up to about hip height and cross it over to the right. Bring your left knee behind your right knee for a cross-legged child's pose. So the knees will be crossed and you'll shift your hips back between your heels. You definitely won't go as low as your first child's pose, but you'll probably feel this a little bit more in your outer hips. Notice if you're holding any of the pose in the upper body, relax your shoulders, relax the muscles in your face. Take 1 more big breath. And a big breath out. Inhale back up to that tabletop position. Come to your hands and your knees. And we'll stretch the other leg back in space. So reach that right leg long. Ball of the foot on the ground. And take shifts forwards and backwards, pressing out through the heel and reaching the shoulders a little bit farther over the fingers, getting a stretch on the back of your right calf, your Achilles, and even all the way up in your wrists. Turn the right heel down to the ground for modified side plank. You can take a kickstand of that left shin back behind you as you reach your right arm up. Inhale, find length across your chest, widen your collarbones. Exhale, right arm over the right ear. Keep pressing down through the outside of your right foot. And lower your right hand on down to the ground. Keep that right leg reaching back and just lift it up away from the ground, just about hip height. Reach it over to the left side of the room and bend your right knee behind your left knee. Shift your hips back and down for side 2 of this cross-legged child's pose. Direct your breath to your outer hips, probably the area where you're feeling this the most. Come up to all fours, come to your hands and your knees, unwind your knees and shift them around a little bit side to side. Tuck your toes under, back behind you, and lift your knees just 6 inches away from the ground. So you're hovering in all fours with the knees lifted. Take a really big breath in, lengthen out your arms, draw your low belly in. Exhale, take downward facing dog with bent legs to start. Tip your sit bones up towards the ceiling in this downward facing dog. Then if it feels all right on your hamstrings and your low back, begin to reach the heels farther back and down, straightening the legs out. Deepen your breath right here. We'll move one breath, one movement through a couple sun salutation A's just to get the body really warmed up, really connected with the breath. Heels high on an inhale. Bend your knees and exhale. Step or jump to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, take a breath. And fold forward and down, exhale. Inhale, come all the way on up to standing. Lift the arms. Right hand is going to grab for your left wrist. Take a big breath in as you lift up. Exhale, side stretch on over to the right. Inhale, rise up through the middle. Switch out the grip and exhale, side stretch left. Inhale through the center, both arms reach. Exhale, fold forward and down. Halfway lift, take a breath. High plank to Chaturanga. Step your feet backwards and lower carefully down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths right here. Deep breath in. And empty all the way out. Again, build your breath. Inhale. Accelerate your exhale and feel a tone and a lift of your low belly. Keep that and connect with some movement. Heels high on an inhale. Exhale, bend your knees like you're ready to move. And jump or step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, take a breath. Fold forward and exhale. Inhale, rise all the way on up to standing. Reach up and stretch. This time, bend your elbows, separate your feet a little bit wider, and take a standing back bend here. So you can cactus the arms, lift your chest up. You can kind of let the head go back. Inhale, reach the arms all the way back up. Stand tall. And take this forward fold slow. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen your spine. And high plank, step the feet backwards or jump back to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Two breaths in down dog. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale out, ground down through your hands. Inhale and lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Jump or step forward to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, take a breath in and fold forward, exhale out. Inhale all the way up to standing, reach up and stretch. This time, hands to heart center as you exhale. Inhale, take the arms back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward and down. Halfway lift, take a breath. High plank to Chaturanga or jump back to Chaturanga. Another option is to just step right back to downward facing dog. If your shoulders, your core, your low back, anything is feeling fatigued, or your breath starts to become challenged, meet me in downward facing dog in a moment here. And then we are going to move on, but if you need a little bit more time to warm up, you can always take a couple extra sunnays, adding in any side stretches, back bends, or extra breaths in any of the poses throughout that sequence. When you're ready to move together again, just meet me in downward facing dog. And we'll start by lifting the right leg all the way up towards the sky. Take a breath in. Big step forward with your right foot and come up to Warrior One, Veer Vajrasana 1. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling, square your hips forward. Definitely separate your feet a little bit right to left here. That might mean like toe heeling your right foot over to the right edge of your mat and making sure that left foot is a little over to the left. Interlace your fingers at your low back. Take a breath in as you work yourself into that bind. This might be a spot where you might need to use a strap or a towel to get the shoulders to open and just kind of ease yourself into that bind. Take one more breath in, standing tall in the bind. And exhale, fold forward inside the right knee for a humble warrior. Let the head hang heavy towards the floor. Lift that bind away from your low back towards the front of the room. Press down through the left back heel. Release your bind and reach your arms towards the upper left corner of your mat. It might feel good to open the left toes over to the left side and then draw your right knee over to the right a little bit more. We're going to hold it here for a couple breaths. So you're welcome to move in this position. You can circle out your hips. You can kind of bend and straighten that right knee. You can walk the hands closer or farther in. Another chance to take inventory of the physical body and dive deep into sensations. Okay, we'll start to walk the hands towards that right front foot. Now, a block can be awesome underneath your right hand, inside the right foot for an early extended side angle. So the left arm is going to reach up towards the ceiling, and that right arm is going to be right inside the right foot. Use your right upper arm to just gently widen your right knee over to the right. Use that as leverage to really reach out of the left arm and even turn towards that top thumb. Take one more really big breath in and see if you can turn open towards your top arm. Lower your left hand on down to the ground. Come to a high plank position. Pause at the top of your plank pose. Bring your forearms down to the ground for forearm plank. Now, two options in this forearm plank. The fingers can be interlaced or the forearms can be parallel to one another. In both cases, think about just hugging the elbows a little in together and then back towards your feet. Draw your heart a little bit more forward so you're lengthening out the front of your body and your back body. Reach out long through your heels and your tailbone. This might be enough for you, but for a little bit more in the upper body, walk your feet forward towards your elbows for a dolphin pose. If you are in a forearm plank, you'll just lift up to high plank pose, one hand at a time. If you are in dolphin pose, try this transition. Lift up a little bit higher onto the balls of your feet. Look towards the top of your mat, press down through your hands, and try to lift your forearms up and shift all the way forward into Chaturanga Dandasana. Those of you in high plank, you can make your way through that as well. Inhale up into upward facing dog. Exhale up and back into downward facing dog. Moving on to the other side, left leg goes high, take a breath. Left foot forward, rise up to warrior one. Remember, a little bit of space right to left in the feet. So you can shift your hips forward. You can reach out through the right back heel and go deep into that front knee. Interlace your hands back behind you. So find your bind of the fingers or bind with a towel or a strap. Take a breath and open up across your chest. Exhale, humbly bow inside your left front knee. Lift the bind away from your low back. And squeeze the upper arms in together in this bind. Release the bind and walk your hands to the upper right corner of your space on a diagonal. Just kind of that pose in between a warrior one and a downward facing dog. Reach out long through the arms and move around into it. Move into your hips, move into that left inner thigh. Even find like a little twist of your left arm up towards the ceiling. If you used a block on the other side, grab it here, walking your left hand inside your left front foot and reach your right arm all the way up towards the sky. Just an early Parsvakonasana, early extended side angle. Find space across your chest and a really long wingspan. One more really big inhale. Exhale, lower the right hand down to the ground, high plank pose, and then lower down on the forearms for forearm plank. Again, you can hold it in your forearm plank, meaning a little bit more in the core, or walk the feet forward, rising up into that dolphin plank once again. If you have a Pinchamayurasana forearm standing practice and you want to play, this is a time for you to kind of explore your practice. So feel free to lift one leg and lower it down, and then definitely try the other. Forearm plank, just hold strong, deepen your breath, lift your low belly in and up. Then we're going to make our way into Chaturanga through a vinyasa. So if you took that transition from dolphin on the other side, you will rise to your toes, getting really high there on the feet. Look towards the top of your mat and try and lift up onto the palms, passing through a quick forearm plank and shift the shoulders forward, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take one really big breath in, and then a nice big breath out. Reach your right leg up and back, and step your right foot forward. Rise up to warrior one. Inhale, arms lift. Interlace your hands back behind you. Take a breath in and open up across your chest. And one exhale into humble warrior. Fold forward and down. Just there for a moment. Inhale, right back up to warrior one. Release the bind and stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Open it up into warrior two from there. So stretch the arms out front to back, soften your shoulders down your upper back, even like circle out a little after that bind, release some tension in the upper body. Now, if you know you have a tighter upper body, grab for your strap or your towel in this warrior two. Bring the strap or the towel into your left hand. So that's the one that's reaching to the back of the room. Right hand is going to flip up towards the ceiling. Reverse your warrior. Right arm goes up and over the right ear. Left hand, either with a strap or without, reaches along the left back leg. We're going to come into extended side angle from reverse warrior. So we're going to try with that bind. So the left hand will reach towards your right hip crease. Right hand will be right inside that right leg. So start with just that half bind. That left hand reaches up, back, and around. The right arm is right in front of the right thigh. And if you're feeling like you've got a little bit more space here and your breath is still really strong, then begin to reach the right hand underneath your right thigh for either the strap, which is in your left hand, or grabbing for your whole left hand. Once you have that bind, open up towards the ceiling. So think about like your left shoulder peeling up away from the ground. Draw that right knee a little bit right, and then lean back. Open up. Breathe deep. Full binds, begin to unbind. Release the strap to the ground if you were using it. And straighten out your right leg. Come into triangle pose. Stretch the arms open long, front to back. Right knee should be straight. A little bit of bend in it, just not locking out that knee joint. Now look down towards your right foot. Bring your left hand to your left hip. And come into Halfmoon Pose. Lean a little bit forward into your right foot. Take a little bend in that knee as you start to lift the left leg up to hip height and reach the left arm open towards the sky. Stay in this half moon with that left leg long, or option to come into Chopasana, bending your left top knee and reaching with your left hand to the outside edge of that left foot. Take a moment there in whichever variation you are in. It's a big balance. And for some of you, it'll be a big bind. Carefully start to unwind the bind. Meet everyone in half moon. One more big breath. And lower the left hand on down to the ground. Just pause for a moment in a standing split there. Take a big step back with the left foot. Come into a lunge and reach your right arm all the way on up towards the ceiling. Just there for a gentle twist and a really big breath in. Lower the right hand on down to the ground. So you are in a high plank pose. Step the right foot back to meet your left foot. Inhale here. Exhale and lower Chaturanga. Inhale up into upward facing dog. Exhale up and back downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift your left leg up high. Take a breath. Step the left foot forward, rise up into warrior one. Inhale all the way up. Interlace your hands back behind you. Take a breath in, stretch open across your chest. Exhale forward and down into humble warrior, just there for a moment. Press down through the feet, rise back up, warrior one, release your bind. Open it up into warrior two. Grab for your strap if you used it on the other side. It'll come into your right back hand. And start to flip the left palm up towards the sky. Reverse your warrior. Take a breath in. Reach long out the left arm. Long left side body. Exhale, come forward. Extended side angle. So the right top arm will have that strap in it if you need it. Find the half bind first. So reach that right hand back and around for the left hip crease. Then open up into the half bind. Open that right shoulder and shift the gaze up towards the ceiling. And if it feels all right and you can go like a little bit deeper, the breath feels strong and steady. Left arm is going to reach underneath your left thigh and grab for either the strap or your hand. Lengthen out the side body is really long on an inhale. Exhale, open up towards the ceiling. Another big breath in here. And exhale. Binds, unbind. Find a long wingspan, arms stretching floor to ceiling. Release the bind over towards the ground. And straighten your left leg out, coming into triangle pose. You need to shorten the stance a little bit here. And then reach out long through both of the arms. Tiny, tiny bend in the left front knee. Lower your right hand down to your right hip. Look down towards your left front foot. Take off to half moon. A little bend in the left knee as you shift your weight forward. Lift the right leg up to hip height. Flex your toes so you're really actively lifting that right leg. Extend the arms open, floor to ceiling. And Shavasana with the bind if you took it on the other side. So bending the top knee and reach around with the right hand to the outside edge of your foot. Press your foot back into your hand. Open up across your right shoulder. Strong left standing leg. You got it. One more breath in. And exhale, release the bind slowly, meeting in Halfmoon Pose. Lower your right hand down to the ground, standing split there for just a second, letting the hips square off, the chest square off, and a big step back with your right foot for just a gentle twist here. Reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, twist open towards that top hand, and lower the left hand down, left foot steps back to meet your right foot. Inhale, high plank pose, shift the shoulders forward. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, good work, you guys. I'm going to move on to opening the hips up a little bit from here. So start to reach the right leg all the way on up towards the ceiling and step the right foot forward outside of your right hand. Turn the toes a little bit out to the right, just about 2 o'clock, and lower your left knee down to the ground, finding a lizard lunge here. Shift the hips forward, and we'll take a quad stretch. So you're going to bend your left back knee, and reach your right arm forward, open the palm over to the right side of the room, and then lift that arm up towards the ceiling and reach it back to the outside edge of your left foot. This is a big, big quad stretch and a lot of hamstring, like a hamstring curl to get that heel in. So if you need a strap, you can wrap it around the top of your left foot to access this quad stretch. Open up across your chest. You can lower down onto the left forearm if that feels all right. And if it doesn't, then you can just come right up into the palm once again. Now carefully unwind that back left knee, so release the bind. Lower your right hand to the ground and toe heel your right foot all the way on over to the left edge of your mat, setting up here for upright pigeon. So right shin might be parallel with the front of your mat, might be that foot tucked in a little bit towards your hips. But really finds like some lifting energy in the hips, like your thighs are drawing up and in towards your hips. And we'll take a quad stretch in this position too. So you're going to bend your left back knee and reach around with your left hand for that foot. If you have even more space, you can reach around with the right hand too and use both of the hands to bind around that back leg. Draw the heel a little closer in towards your seat. Lift up your chest a little bit. One more big breath in. Exhale, lower the hands to the ground. Carefully release the back leg, 3-legged dog. Lift your right leg up and back. Take a bend in the knee and a lift of the hip. Circle out into that hip, a really big, big circle one direction, and then a circle the other direction. Release your right foot down to the ground. Come to downward facing dog. And reach your left leg up in the air. Inhale. Big step forward with your left foot outside of your left hand. Turn the left toes to about 10 o'clock. And then lower your back right knee down to the ground. Taking the quad stretch in this lizard lunge, bend your right back knee. Reach your left arm forward, open the palm to the left side of the room, and then lift the arm up and back and around. So you get a nice open, like left shoulder, your chest is open, your collarbone is open. Reach for the outside edge of the back foot, either for the whole foot or for that strap. Couple breaths here. Option to lower down onto your right forearm, right elbow. And carefully unwind your back right leg. Lower the left hand on down to the ground and scoot your left foot over to the right edge of your mat for an upright pigeon. Find a lift in your hips here, like your thigh bones are lifting up and in. And square the hips a little bit forward. And bend your right back knee and reach around for the right foot with your right hand. If it feels all right and you can go a little bit deeper, reach around with the left hand as well and get that full bind with both hands. Open up across your chest, draw your shoulder blades back and down. Carefully unwind the back leg, lower the hands to the ground, three-legged dog, lift your left leg up and back, big breath in. Bend your left knee and lift your left hip. Circle it out here. Big, big circle in one direction. And then change directions, going just the other way for a moment. Square off your hips and lower the left foot down and meet your right foot. Inhale, come forward, high plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way on down to the floor. Release your chest, your hips, your legs, all the way down. Extend your arms alongside your body, reaching your hands towards your feet. We'll set up here for Locust Pose. So start to lift up your chest, lift up your hands, lift up your feet, your legs, lift everything up. Draw your shoulders back and down. Inhale, stay, exhale. One more big breath in and lift up one more inch higher. Exhale, release down to the ground, flip over to one cheek, rest there for a moment. Interlace your hands at your low back, just like that bind we did in our Warrior Ones to Humble Warrior. That doesn't feel good, then arms just alongside the body as you start to lift up again to another belly back bend. Lift up your chest, your legs, draw the bind back towards your heels and lift the bind away from your seat. Find your breath here, keep it flowing, steady and smooth. Inhale, exhale. Stay with it, one more big inhale. And exhale, release down to the ground, flip over onto the other cheek, pause there. These belly back bends can be kind of intense. So if you want to stick with either of those two options we already did, that is fine. Otherwise, moving on, we're going to try Vajrasana bow pose here from the ground. So bend your knees and reach around for the outside edges of your feet or your ankles with your hands. Press your feet backwards into your hands. Press the shins to the back of the room. Lift up your chest. Lift your chin a little away from the chest. Breathe into this big, big back bending posture. Try to lengthen your tailbone a little bit there. And then one more big breath in. Exhale, release down to the ground. Make a little pillow with your hands underneath your forehead. Bend your knees and windshield wiper them from side to side. Lift yourself up and back to downward facing dog. Wave the hips a little bit side to side. Really lift the sit bones up and back. Kind of like tip them up towards the ceiling. Some length in your low back. Separate your hands wider on your mat. Walk your feet closer towards your wrists, just shortening up your downward facing dog. Take a breath in and lift your heels high. Exhale, bend your knees, look towards your hands, jump through to a seat, and then roll all the way on down to your back. Set up here for bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. Feet hips width distance, arms alongside your body, knees bent up towards the ceiling. Really press down through your feet and begin to elevate your hips away from the ground. You can interlace the hands underneath your body, drawing the shoulders just a little closer together on your upper back. Then lift your chin away from your chest. Press down through the feet and lift your hips one more inch higher. Hold it here for a big breath in. Exhale all the way out. And at the bottom of that exhale, release the hands and lower your seat, your low back, your middle back, everything down to the ground. We're going to move through 2 more back bends from the floor together. You have options here. You can stick with that bridge pose. If you need a rest, then you can grab your block and place it underneath your low back for a supported bridge. If you want to take it up a notch, then you can bring your hands alongside your ears and make your way up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, a full wheel pose here. So start to make your way up into bridge pose, wheel pose, or supported bridge. If you're going all the way up, a little turn of the toes inwards. Work your inner thighs in, back, and apart. Try to straighten out the arms and press down through your hands and your feet. One more big breath in. Exhale, chin in towards the chest and lower all the way back down to the ground. Reset before our last one. Let the knees fall in towards each other. A hand on your heart and a hand on your low belly. Take a really big breath in. Exhale out. One more time like that. Breathe deeply. And breathe out. Set up for one final back bend here together. Make your way up into a heart opener for 5 really big breaths. Slow down your breath. Keep it steady. Keep it strong. Notice if you're holding any tension in your face. Soften the muscles around your brow, around your eyes, and release the tongue from the roof of your mouth. After that last breath, bring yourself all the way back down to the ground. Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open up side to side and bring your hands to your hip creases. Press your thigh bones forward. Let your low back release. Gently start to draw the knees up and in towards your chest. Take some little circles there, massaging out your sacrum, your low back, even like your outer hips a little bit there. And then open the arms side to side and twist your knees on over to the right. Keep the gaze neutral or turn your head to the left. Bring your knees up and in through the center and then over to the other side. Bring the knees up through the center again. Hug them in towards you. Rock along the length of your spine 3 to 5 times and come all the way on up to a seat. Stretch the legs out long in front of you. Sit up onto your sit bones and just make sure there's a little tilt of your pelvis forward. So you may need to bend the knees if you know your hamstrings are tight or you feel this at all in your low back. Lift your arms all the way on up towards the ceiling. Take a really nice big breath in. Exhale, fold forward and down, reaching for something out in front of you. So you might want to use a strap to wrap around the feet here, or you can grab for your outer shins, your ankles, or your feet. Take 3 really big breaths here. Keep them nice and long. Next breath in, rise back up to a seat. Exhale and lower all the way down to the floor. Get out any last wiggles or movements here so you can find a comfortable position for Shavasana. Do your best to stay still for a couple minutes here. It's closing down practice with little bit of quiet time. Let go of your ujjayi breath. Relax your physical body. I'll guide you out in just a couple minutes. Start to bring a little bit of movement back into your fingers and your toes. And reach your arms up and over your head. Reach your legs forward. Take a really, really big good morning, good day, good afternoon stretch. And roll gently on over to one side. Take a quick but meaningful moment here to acknowledge yourself for coming to your mat, taking this time for yourself so you are better able to be there for others. Make your way all the way on up to a seated position. Sit up nice and tall. Bring your hands into your heart center. And we'll just close it out together here with one Om. Empty out your breath. Take a really big breath in. Lift your thumbs right up to your forehead. From my heart to yours. Namaste.